Marcus stood in the middle of the alien circle, sweat on his forehead and dust on his boots. He had no idea what was going on. There were fires burning around him. Strange chants filled the air. Tall, armored aliens stood shoulder to shoulder, their eyes glowing in the twilight. And in the center, right across from him, was a stone platform covered in flowers, bones, and some kind of shiny liquid. This wasn't what he expected when he signed the travel agreement. He was just a human, engineer, sent to repair a power relay on a jungle planet ruled by a warrior clan called the Thirax. The humans had been warned. No one enters Thirax territory without completing the bonding ritual. He thought it was just a ceremony, a handshake, a blessing, something symbolic. So, when the elder asked him earlier, "Do you agree to take part in the rite of trust?" Marcus smiled and said, "Sure, no problem." Now he wasn't so sure. The alien elder, wrapped in thick green robes, stepped forward. His voice echoed like thunder. "This human has entered our circle. He accepts our ways, he honors our blood." Marcus gave a small, awkward wave. Yeah. I honor stuff," the crowd murmured. Then a younger alien stepped out from the back, tall, broad-shouldered, with silver armor and sharp markings on her cheek. She didn't smile. She didn't bow. She walked straight to Marcus and stopped inches away. The elder raised a hand. "The warrior has chosen." Marcus blinked. "Chosen what?" No one answered. The alien female pressed a small, glowing stone against his chest. It burned hot. When she pulled it away, a red symbol was left on his shirt, and glowing on his skin beneath. Everyone in the circle dropped to one knee. Marcus looked down at the symbol, confused. "Wait, what just happened?" The elder stepped closer. "You are now bound." Marcus laughed nervously. "Bound to what?" The elder pointed to the woman. "To her." Marcus froze. "Sorry, wait, what?" "Her name is Rava of the Ice Claw. She has chosen you as her bondmate. The ritual is complete." Marcus stared in disbelief. "Bondmate? As in, wife?" "She will now guard your life. You will share space, food, and future. If you do not reject the bond in 7 moons, it becomes permanent." Marcus's mouth dropped open. "Permanent?" Rava said nothing. She turned away and walked to the other side of the circle. Hours later, Marcus sat in a wooden hut at the edge of the Thirax village. It was simple. Stone floor, thick walls, one big bed, and a small fire pit. His backpack sat untouched near the door. He rubbed his face. Okay, let's think." He pulled out his datapad and checked the cultural agreement file. Page 72. Small text. "Initiation may result in temporary or permanent ceremonial bonding depending on selection by a Thirax warrior." He groaned. "I should have read the fine print." The door opened. Rava stepped in, her armor still on, a heavy axe across her back. She looked at him without emotion. Marcus stood up fast. "Hi. Look, I think there's been a mistake." She didn't respond. "I'm not really the marrying type. Especially not accidentally." Still no response. He scratched the back of his head. "Is there like a cancellation form?" She finally spoke. "Do you wish to reject me?" Her voice was sharp, cold, powerful. Marcus swallowed. "I mean, I don't want to offend you." "You already have." She tossed a rolled-up mat onto the floor and sat down in the corner back to him. Marcus blinked. "Wait, you're not happy either?" She didn't turn around. "You are soft, loud, weak. I thought you would walk away. You didn't." Marcus sighed. "Because I didn't know I was agreeing to a space wedding." They sat in silence for a long time. The fire crackled softly. Marcus finally said, "So, what now?" Rava didn't answer. She just closed her eyes and rested her head against the wall. Marcus lay down on the bed, alone, hands behind his head, staring at the ceiling. He whispered, "It was just a ritual, right?" Marcus woke up early Next morning, with a sore neck and a full head of regret, the fire in the corner had burned down to soft orange coals. Light from the twin suns pushed through the wooden window slats. Birds, if that's what they were, screamed in the distance. He sat up on the edge of the bed, then remembered where he was and who he had apparently married. Rava sat cross-legged in the corner, sharpening a blade longer than Marcus's entire arm. She hadn't said a word all night, not even a grunt. Marcus coughed gently. "Good morning?" She didn't look up. He tried again. "Or whatever you say here. Happy second day of awkward bonding?" Still nothing. He stood up and stretched. "Listen, about this whole bound thing." Suddenly the door swung open. The Therax elder entered with two younger warriors behind him. Marcus straightened. "Oh, perfect timing. I need to talk to you." The elder raised a hand. "Human, come." Marcus followed the group out into the village. The alien structures glowed faintly in the sunlight. Giant creatures wandered between homes wearing armor and pulling carts. All eyes turned toward Marcus as he walked. Some glared, some whispered, a few laughed. They stopped near the fire circle from the day before. The elder turned to him. "You are now bonded to Rava of the Ice Claw. This is known across the tribe." Marcus raised a hand. "Okay, right. About that, you will now receive your living symbol." Before Marcus could ask what that meant, one of the warriors stepped forward and held out a wooden box. Inside, it was a baby beast, round, blue, and covered in fuzzy spikes. It purred like a motor. "This creature," the elder said, "shares the bond's energy. Where one goes, it follows. If the bond is broken, the beast will reject you." The small creature blinked and climbed onto Marcus's shoulder. It licked his ear. Marcus flinched. Okay. Weird space pet included. Got it." The elder's tone grew serious. "Do you reject the bond?" Marcus hesitated. He glanced at Huh? She stood across the fire pit, arms crossed, face unreadable. She didn't look at him, didn't speak, didn't move. Marcus looked back at the elder. "I don't know." "If you reject now," the elder said, "you will be escorted out of Therax territory. No trade, no help. You leave alone." Marcus blinked. "Wait, I thought this was all just ceremony." The elder narrowed his glowing eyes. "To us, nothing is just ceremony." Marcus sighed. He wasn't ready to be anyone's husband, especially not to a sword-wielding alien who didn't even like him. But he also wasn't ready to walk out into a dangerous jungle planet with no supplies, no map, and no backup. "I'll stay," he muttered. "For now." The elder nodded. "Then train, learn, prove." The next few days were intense. Rava showed him to the work tent, where bonded pairs prepared weapons and gear together. They were expected to cook, clean, even spar as a team. It was awkward. At first they said almost nothing. She handed him tools without speaking. He passed her firewood without thanks. She slept on the floor. He stayed on the bed. They moved like two strangers caught in the same storm. But something strange happened during a group meal one evening. A younger warrior pointed at Marcus and asked, "Why would Rava bond with a soft one?" Marcus froze mid-bite. Rava didn't hesitate. She stood up, walked over, and dropped her battle axe on the table, right in front of the warrior. "If he is soft," she said calmly, "then your skull must be hollow." Silence. The warrior lowered. His head. Marcus stared, stunned. She sat back down. He whispered, "Did you just defend me?" She didn't answer, but the smallest smirk appeared at the corner of her mouth. Later that night, Marcus sat outside the hut, looking at the stars. The little bond beast curled on his lap, purring. Rava stepped beside him and said, "You are clumsy." "Thanks. You are loud." "Great. But you try." He looked up. Was that a compliment? Rava didn't answer. She just sat beside him. And for the first time since the fire ritual, they didn't feel like strangers. Rain fell hard on the Thyrax village. Thick, warm drops splashed against stone paths and metal roofs. Thunder rumbled across the sky, and even the wild beasts stayed quiet. Inside the hut, Marcus sat by the fire, drying his boots. Rava stood across the room, sharpening her blade again. She hadn't spoken since lunch. Her movements were slow and focused, like she was trying to forget he existed. Marcus finally broke the silence. So, we gonna talk about this? Or just pretend we're two roommates who accidentally got married? Rava didn't answer. He sighed. Come on, we're stuck in this bond thing. Might as well. I didn't choose you, she said suddenly, eyes still on her blade. Marcus blinked. Excuse me? Rava set the blade down. I didn't want a bond, she said, but the elder insisted, said our clan needed connection with outsiders. Said I had too many victories, not enough softness. She looked at him now. You were just there. Marcus leaned back. Wow. That's romantic. I thought you would reject the mark, she said coldly. Humans usually run. Marcus rubbed his face. Well, I didn't know I was being marked for marriage. I thought it was just a glowing tattoo. Rava tilted her head. You really didn't know? Would I be panicking every 5 minutes? If I did? They stared at each other for a moment. Then something changed. She laughed, just once. Short, rough. Marcus blinked. Did you just laugh? I didn't say it was funny, she muttered, turning away. But Marcus saw it, the little crack in her armor. Not the metal one, the emotional one. Later that evening, the storm got worse. Winds howled, the fire dimmed. Marcus lay on the floor with his small pillow, staring at the ceiling. Rava sat by the wall watching the flames. He rolled over. Why don't you sleep on the bed? You're the warrior here. I'm used to the ground, she replied. Still, Marcus said, you don't have to punish yourself just because we're bonded. I'm not punishing myself. He waited. Then she added softly, I just didn't want this, any of it. Marcus sat up. The fire flickered between them. I get it, he said. You had a path, a future. Then suddenly, bam, tied to a human with a broken toolkit and 0 battle skills. Rava looked surprised. You understand? I didn't plan this either, he said. Back on Earth, I barely had time to fix my apartment, let alone think about relationships. Now I'm in a hut with a warrior who could break me in half if I sneeze too loud. Rava raised one brow. That's not wrong. He grinned. I know. For a while they just sat there. Not talking, not fighting, just quiet. Then Marcus asked, Have you ever been bonded before? No, Rava said. I never wanted to be. Thyrax bonds are for life. I thought I'd be a fighter until the end. Alone, strong, free. She looked away. But now, I don't know what I am. Marcus nodded slowly. Maybe we figure that out together. She didn't smile. But she didn't walk away either. That was something. The next day, the elder called them to the training yard. Bonded pairs must spar together, he announced. Marcus panicked. Wait, with each other or against others? Both. Rava smirked. This should be fun, she said. They were matched against another bonded couple, 2 Thyrax warriors who moved like fire and shadow. Marcus tripped twice before the first hit landed. Rava knocked down her opponent with a single elbow. Stop swinging like a lost bird, she barked at Marcus. I'm trying, he shouted, ducking another hit. Use your size, you're slower but solid. You think I'm solid? He grinned. She threw him a practice blade. Try not to embarrass me. He didn't win, but he didn't fall behind either. And when the match ended, Rava looked at him, not with frustration but something close to respect. That night Marcus sat outside cleaning his bruised arm. Rava joined him. She placed something in his hand. A small leaf. Dark blue. Cold to the touch. For the pain, she said. He looked at her. You're helping me? You're trying, she said. That matters. He smiled. So, are we friends now? She stood up. Don't push it. But her eyes were softer, and her footsteps slower. Nights on Therax territory were cold. Not cold like winter on Earth, but a strange, wet chill that crept through the walls, the floor, and even under thick blankets. Inside their shared hut, the fire had gone out hours ago. Rain tapped lightly on the roof. Marcus lay curled on one side of the bed, his thin blanket doing little to keep him warm. Rava lay on the floor, as usual, still, silent, facing the wall. Neither of them had said goodnight. Marcus shivered. He whispered, I know you don't want this bond, but if you freeze to death down there, I don't think that counts as breaking it. No reply. He sighed and rolled over, pulling his blanket tighter. Then, after a moment, I could share the bed. It's big enough. I promise I won't snore too loud. Still no reply. But then, slowly, Rava stood. She didn't say a word. She crossed the room and climbed onto the far edge of the bed, facing the opposite direction. They lay there, back to back. No touching. No talking. Just two people too stubborn to admit they were both cold. But they were getting closer. The next morning, Marcus woke to find Rava already gone. He rubbed his eyes and stretched, then froze. Something was tucked. Beside him, a clean cloth and a small pouch of warmed root tea. She had left it for him. He smiled to himself. She's still pretending not to care. But I see you, Rava. Later that day, the village bell rang, a deep metal tone that meant one thing: threat. Marcus stepped out of the hut and saw warriors running. Smoke curled in the sky from the eastern trees. Beasts were fleeing. Children were being pulled indoors. Rava appeared beside him, fully armored. What's happening? Marcus asked. Ravagers, she said. Wild desert beasts. They move in packs, hungry, fast. He blinked. And we're going toward them? Yes, she said. Bonded pairs defend together. Marcus grabbed his light shield and followed her into the trees. They reached the outer fields quickly. 10 large beasts were tearing through crops, howling. They had sharp limbs, red eyes, and long jaws dripping with saliva. Warriors charged. So did Rava. Marcus ran behind her, barely keeping up. One beast lunged toward him. He raised his shield just in time. The blow knocked him down. He heard Rava shout, his name, not human, not weakling. Marcus. She was suddenly there, blades flashing, cutting down the beast in one clean strike. Then she knelt beside him. Are you hurt? Only my pride, he groaned. She helped him stand. We fight together, she said. They defended side by side for the next 20 minutes. She blocked. He distracted. She struck. He protected her flank. It wasn't perfect, but it was a team. By the time the last beast fell, Marcus's arms ached and his shirt was torn. Rava had a cut above her eye. He tore a strip from his sleeve and gently pressed it to the wound. She flinched. He paused. Too soft? She shook her head. No, just unexpected. That night the fire was warm again. They both sat by it, silent. Then Marcus asked, back in training, why didn't you just reject the bond? Rava didn't answer at first. Then she said, I've always followed orders. I never questioned them. She looked into the fire. But maybe this bond wasn't a mistake, just unexpected. Marcus nodded. Yeah, that's how I describe it too. Later they lay on the bed again, still back to back. But this time, closer, just inches apart. Before closing his eyes, Marcus whispered, Good night, Rava. A pause. Then her voice, soft. Good night, Marcus. And for the first time, he slept with a smile. The Therax blade was broken, not shattered, but bent, dull and chipped at the edge. Its metal no longer sang when drawn. It just scraped. Marcus found it lying beside the wall one morning while Rava was out training. He picked it up carefully. Even in its damaged state, the weapon still looked powerful. Old carvings ran along the handle, marks from battles long gone. Marcus whispered, "You've seen a lot, haven't you?" He wasn't sure if he was talking to the blade or himself. He set the blade on the table, took out his toolkit, and began to work. He wasn't a blacksmith, but he was an engineer. He knew how to shape, smooth, and repair. The metal was strange, but with a few tests he found a method. Hours passed. Sweat dripped down his neck. He didn't tell anyone what he was doing, not even her. Rava returned that evening, tired and silent. She saw the fire was already lit, and dinner, simple roasted roots, was ready. Marcus handed her a bowl. "Long day?" She nodded. "Sparring drills, 3 rounds, 1 broken jaw." He winced. "Not yours, I hope." Her lips twitched. "No." He smiled, then hesitated. I fixed something." He stood and walked to the table, lifted the cloth. There it was, her weapon, polished and shining again. The blade was straight, the edge sharp, the handle reinforced. Rava stared. No words, just silence. Marcus rubbed the back of his neck. "You always said I was soft, but I figured even soft hands can help sharpen steel." She stepped forward slowly, picked up the weapon, tested its weight, swung it once, then twice. Perfect. She looked at him, and for the first time, she said something he never expected. "Thank you." The next morning, Rava didn't train alone. She called Marcus to join her. Their movements were different now, smoother, more in sync. When Marcus slipped, she caught him. When she stumbled, he steadied her. No shouting, no insults, only quiet respect. Later that week, a small patrol was sent to the northern cliffs to check on missing scouts. Rava and Marcus were chosen to lead it. 5 hours in open terrain, she warned him. "Sharp rocks, thin air, stay close." He grinned. "Yes, wife." She raised an eyebrow. "Call me that again and I'll push you off a cliff." He chuckled. Noted. The patrol went smoothly until the return trip. The ground cracked under Marcus's left foot. He slipped hard, slamming into a sharp stone. Blood spread quickly across his side. "Ah!" Rava was instantly beside him. "Stay down," he laughed, weakly. "Oh, great. First real patrol and I ruin it with gravity." She pressed cloth to the wound, tight and steady. "No jokes. You're bleeding." His face was pale, but his voice was calm. You came running. You are my bondmate." He whispered. "Thought you hated that." "I did." She looked at him, then added softly, "I don't anymore." They got back to the village before sunset. Marcus was placed on a recovery cot. Rava stayed beside him. She crushed healing leaves by hand, mixed them with warm water, and cleaned his wound carefully. He hissed in pain. She whispered, "You fixed my weapon." He smiled. "You fixed me." That night she didn't lay on the floor. She didn't face away. She sat beside the bed holding his hand. Marcus asked, "Why are you being so nice?" Rava answered, "Because I want to be." He blinked. She leaned down, close enough for her voice to sound like thunder and music all at once. "I don't want to break this bond anymore," Marcus whispered. "Neither do I." For the first time, they didn't sleep back to back. They slept heart to heart. The village was alive with music and fire. Tonight was the Blood Moon Festival, a sacred Thirax tradition to honor strength, survival, and chosen bonds. Warriors danced around roaring flames. Drums echoed across the jungle. Sparks filled the sky like falling stars. Marcus stood awkwardly near the edge of the celebration, clutching a carved wooden cup filled with something that smelled like fruit and fire. He wore the ceremonial cloth armor gifted to bonded males. Soft, simple, respectful. He hadn't seen Rava all evening. She will come when it is time, the elder had told him. He didn't know what that meant. All he knew was, people were staring, again. Some smiled, others scowled. One warrior leaned into another and whispered, "The human still thinks he belongs." Marcus heard it, but didn't respond. He had grown used to being the outsider, until recently. Then he saw her. Rava stepped out from between two flame pillars, dressed in silver-gray robes laced with bone charms. Her hair was pulled back in warrior braids. Her blade rested across her back. But tonight, she looked different. Not just strong, not just deadly. She looked proud. She walked straight toward Marcus. No hesitation, no shame, and stopped just a foot away. "You're standing like a frightened deer," she said. Marcus smiled. "Well, this frightened deer showed up, didn't he?" She allowed a small smirk. "That's true." The elder raised his hands. "Let the bond pairs step forward," he shouted. "Let all see who stands together." A few couples moved toward the fire circle, traditional partners, warriors with warriors. Marcus glanced at Rava. "I don't have to if you don't want." She grabbed his wrist. "You're with me," she said firmly. He blinked. "Oh." She pulled him into the light. Whispers rippled through the crowd. Suddenly, a voice rang out. "He does not belong." Everyone turned. A tall Thirax male stepped forward. Heavy armor, large horns, cold eyes. His name was Vorik. A rival, warrior, known for challenging bonds he saw as weak. He stepped between Rava and Marcus. "This human is not worthy of a warrior's side," Vorik growled. Marcus took a step back, but Rava didn't move. "He is my bond," she said simply. "Break it," Vorik snapped. "Stand beside one of your own." Marcus opened his mouth, but Rava raised a hand. Then she did something no one expected. She stepped in front of Marcus, faced Vorik, and said loudly, for all to hear, "I claim him." Gasps. Silence. Even the drums stopped. Marcus blinked. What does that mean?" Rava turned her head slightly. "It means no one else can challenge you, not unless they want to face me first." He swallowed. "Right. Okay. That's intense," Vorik glared. "You waste your strength." Rava replied, "Then try me." Vorik took one step forward. Rava's hand went to her blade. He stopped, then turned and walked away without another word. The crowd slowly returned to dancing and music, but Marcus was frozen. He stepped closer to Rava. "You just claim me." She nodded. "In front of your whole tribe." Another nod. He stared at her. "Why?" She looked at him, her voice softer now. "Because you belong." Later that night they sat together on a quiet ledge overlooking the jungle. Stars glittered overhead. Marcus turned to her. "So, all that wasn't just for show?" "No," she said. He hesitated. "You could have had any warrior in the tribe." "I didn't want any of them." He smiled gently. "And now you're stuck with me." She looked at him. "You're not what I expected, but you never gave up. Even when I pushed you away, you tried." She placed a hand over his. "That means more than strength." Marcus looked down at their hands. Hers was bigger, rougher, but it felt safe. "I didn't think I'd like this bond," he said. "I thought I'd find a way out." Rava raised a brow. "And now?" He looked into her eyes. "Now I think, maybe this bond isn't so bad." She smiled, genuine, full. And for once, neither of them needed to say anything more. The sun rose slowly over the Thirax village, painting the sky with soft pinks and golds. Today was the day Marcus had been waiting for and dreading. In the heart of the village, a large stone altar stood. It was old, carved with the symbols of the clan's history and the marks of every bonded pair before them. The tribe gathered around, warriors, elders, and curious children. The air buzzed with quiet excitement. Marcus stood beside Rava, dressed in ceremonial clothes that felt heavy on his shoulders. He glanced at her. She looked calm, strong, and more beautiful than he remembered. The elder stepped forward. "This is the day of choice," he said in a deep voice. "Marcus, you may now speak." Marcus took a deep breath. He looked at the crowd, then at Rava. "7 moons ago, I came here as a stranger," he began. "I thought the bonding ritual was just a formality, a simple ceremony." He smiled nervously. "But I was wrong." The crowd listened, silent. Marcus took Rava's hand. "She has been my guide, my teacher, and my shield. At first I did not understand her world, or the bond we shared." He paused. "But now I know this bond is real. It is not a cage but a choice." The crowd murmured softly. The elder nodded. "Rava, the choice is yours as well." Rava stepped forward. She held Marcus's hand tightly. "I once thought this bond would be my prison," she said. "But it has become my strength." Her eyes shone with fierce pride. "I choose to accept this bond. Forever." Marcus's heart raced. He smiled wider than ever. "I choose the same," he said. The elder raised his hands. "So it is done." The crowd erupted in cheers. Warriors shouted, children laughed, and Marcus and Rava stood hand in hand, no longer strangers or reluctant partners, but true bonded mates. Later, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Marcus and Rava sat by a quiet stream outside the village. The air smelled of wildflowers and fresh earth. Rava leaned her head on Marcus's shoulder. He smiled and kissed her hair. "We survived the ritual," she laughed softly. "More than that," she whispered. "We found each other." Under the glowing stars, Marcus realized something. The bond he once feared had become the greatest adventure of his life. Because sometimes, the most unexpected beginnings lead to the deepest connections.